Graphite and charcoal. These are the foundational and most direct of all drawing media. Charcoal, made from burnt wood, is one of the oldest art materials on Earth. It creates rich, dark, and easily smudged lines, perfect for expressive gestural drawings. Graphite, the material found in modern pencils, is a form of carbon that allows for much greater precision and control. It can create a vast range of tones, from light, silvery grays to deep blacks, making it the essential tool for everything from quick sketches to highly detailed photorealistic drawings. Pastel. Occupying a unique space between drawing and painting, pastels are sticks of pure, powdered pigment mixed with a binder. Soft pastels have a chalky, velvety texture, allowing for beautiful blending and rich, painterly effects. Oil pastels have a waxy, crayon-like consistency, creating bold, vibrant, and textured strokes. The medium is known for its incredible color vibrancy, as the pigment sits directly on the surface of the paper, but also for its fragility, as the image can be easily smudged if not protected. Colored pencil. While once seen as a children's medium, the colored pencil has become a major tool for professional artists. It is a wax or oil-based pigment bound in a wooden casing. The medium is prized for its precision and control, allowing the artist to build up rich, complex colors and subtle details through a slow and meticulous process of layering and burnishing. It can be used to create drawings with the luminous, blended quality of a painting, or the sharp detail of a photorealistic image. Markers. A staple of illustrators and designers, markers use a felt tip to deliver a smooth, even layer of dye or pigment-based ink. Alcohol-based markers, like those from Copic, are a professional standard, valued for smooth blending and gradients on marker-friendly paper. They are known for their vibrant, translucent colors and their ability to create clean, sharp, and graphic images, making them a favorite for comic book art, fashion illustration, and product design. Ink. Ink is a versatile liquid medium that has been used for centuries with brushes, quills, and pens. Unlike pencil, many inks dry to a more permanent line, and ink drawing often emphasizes crisp, high-contrast marks. The style of an ink drawing can vary dramatically, from the delicate, calligraphic lines of an East Asian landscape painting to the dense, cross-hatched shading of a Renaissance master like Albrecht Dürer. Modern artists often use technical pens to create crisp, uniform lines, or they can dilute the ink with water to create soft, transparent washes of tone, much like watercolor. Fresco. One of the most ancient and durable painting techniques, fresco involves painting onto wet lime plaster. The name is Italian for fresh. As the plaster dries, a chemical reaction binds the pigment to the wall itself, making the painting an integral part of the architecture. This method requires incredible speed and skill, as the artist must finish a section before the plaster dries. The most famous example is Michelangelo's ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, a monumental masterpiece of the fresco technique. Tempera. The primary panel painting medium of the medieval and early Renaissance world, tempera involves mixing powdered pigments with a binder, most famously egg yolk. Egg tempera dries very quickly to a hard matte finish. Because it cannot be easily blended, artists build up color and form through a patient and precise process of cross-hatching and layering thin, semi-opaque strokes of paint. This gives tempera paintings, like those by Botticelli, their characteristic linear, crisp, and jewel-like quality. Oil paint. The invention that revolutionized Western art, oil paint uses a drying oil, typically linseed oil, as its binder. Unlike tempera, oil paint dries very slowly, giving the artist an enormous amount of time to blend colors, create soft, smoky transitions, and make changes. It can be applied in thin, translucent glazes to create a sense of inner light, or in thick, heavy strokes called impasto to create texture. The incredible realism of the Dutch masters and the expressive brushwork of Van Gogh were both made possible by the versatility of oil paint. Watercolor and gouache. These are water-soluble paints. Watercolor is a transparent medium. The artist builds up color in thin, luminous washes, allowing the white of the paper to shine through and create the highlights. It is a notoriously difficult medium that prizes spontaneity and a light touch. Gouache, on the other hand, is an opaque watercolor. Gouache is an opaque, matte water-based paint with a higher pigment load, often with fillers like chalk, allowing artists to paint light over dark and create flat graphic shapes. Acrylic, a 20th century invention. Acrylic paint is a fast-drying paint made of pigment suspended in an acrylic polymer emulsion. It is the most versatile of all paints. It can be thinned with water to behave like watercolor, or used straight from the tube to mimic the thick texture of oil paint. Once it dries, it is permanent and water-resistant. Its speed, durability, and vibrant colors made it the medium of choice for many modern art movements, from pop art to abstract expressionism. Collage and assemblage. This is the art of making an image by gluing together different pre-existing materials. In collage, pioneered by cubists like Picasso and Braque, artists use found materials like newspaper clippings, wallpaper, and fabric, combining them with drawn or painted elements. Assemblage is the three-dimensional version of collage, where everyday objects are combined to create a sculpture. Both media are a radical break from tradition, bringing the real world directly into the artwork. Mixed media. This is a broad and flexible category that describes any artwork made from a combination of different materials. A mixed media artist might combine oil paint, collage, ink, and pastel, all in a single work. The philosophy behind it is one of total freedom. The artist is not bound by the rules or traditions of a single medium and can use any material they feel best expresses their idea. It is the dominant approach for many contemporary artists today. Relief printing. The oldest and most direct form of printmaking. In a relief print, the artist takes a flat block, usually of wood, and carves away the areas they do not want to print, leaving the image raised. Ink is then rolled onto the raised surface, and the block is pressed onto paper. The woodcut is the most famous example, known for its bold, graphic, and often slightly crude lines. This was the method used to create the first printed books and the iconic Japanese ukiyo-e prints. Intaglio. The opposite of relief, intaglio involves cutting the image into a surface, usually a metal plate. In engraving, the lines are cut directly into the plate with a sharp tool called a burin. In etching, the plate is covered with a wax-like ground, and the artist draws into the wax. The plate is then submerged in acid, which bites or etches the exposed lines into the metal. In both cases, ink is forced into the lines, the surface is wiped clean, and a powerful press forces the paper into the grooves to pick up the ink. Lithography, a completely different form of printmaking that works on the chemical principle that oil and water do not mix. The process involves drawing an image directly onto a flat, polished limestone or a metal plate using a greasy crayon. The stone is then treated with a chemical solution that makes the blank areas attract water and the greasy areas attract ink. When an oily ink is rolled onto the wet stone, it sticks only to the drawing. This allows the artist to create prints with a free, crayon-like and tonal quality. Screen printing, a modern printmaking technique that uses a stencil process to create bold, graphic images. The method involves pushing ink through a fine mesh screen that has been blocked off in certain areas. Because the ink is laid on top of the paper, screen printing can produce incredibly vibrant, opaque colors. This technique was famously adopted by pop artists like Andy Warhol, who used its commercial, mass-produced feel to create iconic screen prints, such as his Marilyn series and other mass media-style images. Carving. One of the two great traditions of sculpture, carving is a subtractive process. The artist starts with a solid block of material, like stone or wood, and removes material until the final form is revealed. It is a difficult and unforgiving method, as a mistake cannot be easily undone. Michelangelo famously said that he was not creating a figure, but merely liberating the form that was already trapped inside the marble block. Modeling and casting. The other great tradition, modeling, is an additive process. The artist builds up the form using a soft, pliable material like clay or wax. This allows for immense freedom and the ability to easily correct mistakes. The final soft model is often a temporary stage. It is then used to create a mold, from which a permanent version can be cast in a more durable material, most famously bronze, a technique that has been used since the ancient world. Ceramics. One of the most ancient of all human art forms, ceramics is the art of creating objects from clay. This is a process of transformation. A soft, pliable material is shaped by hand, or on a potter's wheel, then fired at a high temperature in a kiln to become hard and permanent. The surface can be decorated with glazes that turn into a spectrum of colors during the firing process. Ceramics can be functional, like a bowl or a vase, or purely sculptural. Spray paint. The dominant medium of the global street art movement, spray paint is art in an aerosol can. Originally developed for industrial use, it was adopted by graffiti artists in the 1970s for its speed, portability, and ability to cover large surfaces quickly. Artists use a variety of nozzles, or caps, to create lines of different thicknesses, and they master techniques like blending and fading to create everything from complex, calligraphic tags to massive photorealistic murals. Photography. A revolutionary medium born in the 19th century, photography is the art of drawing with light. It uses a lens to focus light onto a light-sensitive surface to capture an image of the world. For over a century, this surface was chemical film, but today it is a digital sensor. Photography's relationship with art has been complex. Initially seen as a purely mechanical process, it is now fully accepted as a major art form, capable of everything from objective documentation to surreal abstraction. Digital art. The newest medium in the artist's toolbox. Digital art is any art that is made on a computer. This is an incredibly broad category. It includes digital painting, where an artist uses a stylus and tablet to mimic the act of painting. 3D modeling, used to create the characters and worlds of video games and CGI films. And generative art, where an artist writes a computer program or algorithm that creates the artwork on its own. It is a medium with almost limitless possibilities. Thanks for watching. Which art medium is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Also, please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.